Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to do a quick video to explain to you another strategy that you might want to use in order to better market your properties. It's an age-old concept. It's just something we haven't seen for a long time because interest rates have been so good for so long. A 2-1 buy down. So what exactly is a 2-1 buy down? So the term buy down is utilizing money in order to pay down to get a lower interest rate. A 2-1 buy down is something that you can utilize as a within your property, and it has to be paid for by an interested third party. So it can be paid by either you, the listing agent, the buyer's agent, or the seller. That you can utilize funds from the sale of the property that you have listed in order to actually buy down the interest rate for the first 2 years. In some cases, 3 years. You can do a 3-1, a 2-1, or a 1-to-1 buy down to buy down the interest rate in order to get them into a more effective and lower payment. So one thing that was cited in an article that I've actually put into the link below, it was cited today on KSL.com, is that we are leading. Essentially, Utah is the #1 state in regards to dropping prices on current listings. And a statistic that I just wanted to put together. So if you reduce a price on a property by about $12,000, you're only reducing the monthly payment for that buyer by roughly $71 a month. So meanwhile, you could use that same amount of roughly 12,000, a little over 2%, give or take 2% on the purchase price of the average home right now in the state of Utah, and you can reduce the payment by $667 in year one and $342.91 in year two. So I want to just go over a little bit as to what exactly this means. What is a buy down and how can that best be utilized? So I'm going to give a very simple example. Obviously, a loan amount of $100,000 is unheard of in this market, as is an interest rate of 5% for the most part, but we're hoping that'll change here in the next few months. So a couple of things to point out on what the buy down is. It's only eligible on purchases. It's not eligible on refinances. It's a great tool for buyers that are looking to ease into a new payment but take advantage of the lower payment for the first 2 years. The 30-year fixed loan, it is not an ARM. So when you see 2-1, that does not mean it's an ARM. It's not a 5-1 ARM. It's not a 7-1 ARM. It's a fixed interest rate. There's no prepayment penalties associated with it. It can be used for conventional FHA, VA, and or USDA. Buyer must actually qualify on the note rate. So if the note rate ends up being 5.875 and we're buying it down to 3.875, they still have to qualify at that fully indexed rate of 5.875. So anyway, really quickly, just an example. So in this example here, we have a loan amount of $100,000. This is a 2-1 buy down, which is the most common one that we typically end up using. Interest rate of 5%. That fully indexed payment would be $537. So how do we calculate the payment? What we do is we take what year one would end up being. So our start rate is 3%. So the fully indexed rate minus the 2%. The payment on that is $422. So the actual full payment would be $437 minus $422, which equals $115. So that amount comes out to what the payment would be different over the course of a 12-month period would be $1,380. Year two, the payment goes to 4%. That would make the payment 4.7, and that would save the buyer $60 a month, or a total over a 12-month period of $720. Year 3 through 30, again, at the fully indexed payment of $537, so that's going to be their fixed rate for the remaining life of the loan. The amount that they would be required at closing would be $2,100. Now, obviously, we're dealing with higher loan amounts. I understand that, but this is a really, really good tool. So with where we're at right now, it's highly unlikely that buyers are going to end up using a buy down and end up even seeing the fully indexed rate. Rates are going to go down in the next few months. So I would anticipate if someone starts at a 3% interest rate, in this scenario, they're probably going to be able to qualify for something that's going to be less than what the fully indexed rate would be. So this is more or less going to be a temporary thing. And this is a good fit for first-time homebuyers, especially that are just getting into the job market, maybe have a younger family. They're looking at getting a pay raise in the next few months. So they can kind of graduate into that higher payment. But you can utilize some seller concessions in order to really make the property much more appetizing, especially with a lower payment. In the scenario I put down below, we're using more of today's examples, and payments are significantly less expensive, $667 in some cases based upon like a $550,000 loan. So you can really save a buyer a lot of money. So it's very, very helpful that you can end up doing this. So who can pay for the buy down? Again, only parties that are eligible to pay for are the seller or the agents that are part of the transaction. The buyer can't pay for it themselves. So what you could look to do is, if you've got a property that's very desirable, you could look to increase the purchase price to offset what that cost would be and apply some seller concessions. Or if you were looking at lowering the purchase price on the home, you could do that by way of the buy down, as opposed to lowering the price of the homes. That's not really going to save the buyer that much money as far as their payment. But like I said, so instead of a price reduction, utilize this tool, as it gives a client a much lower payment and a simple price reduction. I'd be happy to go over more of the scenarios with you. If you have a buyer, or I'm sorry, if you have a seller that's interested in marketing their property a little bit different, I'd be happy to go ahead and jump on a call, be it with a seller or with a buyer right now that this may be applicable for. Please feel free to give me a call, 801-676-6656. I'm sorry, 801-676-6656, or on my cell at 801-787-9351. Justin at Community Lending Group. You can follow me, communitylendinggroup.com. You can follow me on Instagram at CLGJustin, or on Facebook at CommJustin, COMMJUSTIN. Look forward to helping you and your clients, and I hope to talk to you soon.